There are many options in LightWave for working with an item's motion path, and I thought we could take a look at a couple of them. Let's start by just creating a real quick motion. So I'm just going to zoom out, and I'll take this car and on frame 0, start it off there. On frame 30, we'll go here, and on frame 60, we'll go here. It's just really basic. I'm not going to win any awards with this one, but I'm going to rotate the vehicle there and rotate the vehicle here. It comes in, starts to curve, maybe even say like somewhere in here. Just trying to set up a few keyframes. Again, not going to get it where it really needs to be animation wise, but I just want to have a few keyframes. There we go. So we get a nice little, well, I won't say nice, but we get a little curve animation going here. And once we have that set up, we might decide, okay, maybe this is the animation that we want, but we want to change where this animation is taking place. Now what we could do is just rebuild the animation. We could parent this this vehicle to a null and move the null so the entire animation moves to a new location, or what we can do is we can go to the Modify tab and use Move Path. Now the Move Path tool allows you to move the entire path, where the entire motion path for this object, anywhere you want. So now I want it to take place over here. Okay, and it doesn't create any new keyframes. Okay, and I'm not even, if we look down here on the timeline, I'm not even on a keyframe. It doesn't matter where our frame slider is, because we're moving the entire motion path. Okay, so that's the Move Path tool. It's really handy. You're probably not going to use it on every project, but there will come a time where you've set up an animation and now you need to move that entire animation somewhere, and that's where you take advantage of the Move Path tool. Okay, now say I'm going to go back to the Move tool, and say we're wanting to tweak this animation. Like maybe on frame 30, I don't want the keyframe to be right here. Well, I could kind of move it out here, and with Auto Key on, of course, it's going to update. And then I could come over to frame 39 and tweak that, and I could come over to frame 20 and tweak that. Now I could keep moving the frame slider to the keyframe that I want to. If I'm on keyframe 10, I can't tweak 0 or 20. I have to be on that keyframe unless I use a really handy tool called the Path tool. Now if I come over to Modify, Path tool, it doesn't matter. Let's just look down here in the frame slider. It doesn't matter where my frame slider is. I'm going to put it on 10. We can see that there's no keyframe on 10, and we're not going to create new keyframes with the Path tool, even with Auto Key on. That's not what it's intended to do. If we take a look here, we get handles for each keyframe on the motion path, and without having to go to that frame, I can go and tweak that motion path. So I'm just going to change this path up a little bit, okay, and scrub through. Okay, so I've destroyed that animation, but as you can see, I can tweak it. So I find this to be really helpful if I've got my animation. I like the motion and the amount of keyframes, but I just want to kind of tweak the motion a little bit without adding any keyframes. So this this Path tool allows me to do that. So I can just I'm really just destroying this, but you can see I'm not adding new keyframes down here on the timeline. I'm just manipulating the ones that are already there, and I can manipulate all the keyframes, meaning I don't have to move to the frame that these keyframes are on. So that's just a quick look at two translate functions in layout. That's the Path tool, which allows me to move the keyframes on the motion path, and the Move Path tool, which allows me to move the entire motion path for that object. So there you go, two functions for working with motion paths in layout.